This is Amy from MFM, and I'm here to talk to you about multiplying a fraction by a fraction. So I'm going to be using these virtual fraction tiles, and here at MFM, we like to use a website called brainingcamp.com. Go ahead and check it out if you've never heard of it before. There are tons of virtual manipulatives on their website, and fraction tiles are one of them. So multiplying a fraction by a fraction. Before we start, so let's talk about when you're multiplying two whole numbers. So for example, 4 times 3, 5 times 4, 6 times 4, your answer or your quantity is always larger than either of your factors or your two numbers that you're multiplying. But now when we're multiplying a fraction by a fraction, we are actually taking part of a part. So let me give you an example here. First one that we're going to start off with tonight is 1/2 of 1/3. All right, so I'm going to take 1/2 of 1/3. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out a 1/3 piece. And the reason I laid out a 1/3 piece and not a 1/2 piece is because I want to take half of this third. So I'm going to go ahead and estimate right now. I know that my answer is going to be a fraction that is less than a third, because if I have to take a half of a third, that means that I have to cut my thirds basically in half. So I'm going to go ahead and type out real quick just to estimate so I can know if my answer is reasonable when I finish the problem. So estimate. So I'm going to say it's going to be answer is less than 1/3. I'm just going to leave that over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to try to see what of these fraction tiles, what size piece is going to be a half of a third. So I know it's going to be a size that's smaller than a third. So it has to be a fraction that's cut up into smaller size pieces than a third. So it's got to be cut up into more than 3 pieces. So let's see here. Let's try 1/6. Okay. Oh, here we go right there. So looks like it takes 2/6 to equal 1/3. So I'm going to write that over here. 2/6 equals 1/3. Or I could say 1/3 equals 2/6. So these are equivalent fractions. And I can tell by using these fraction tiles because I can put 2/6 right over that 1/3 just like that. And it shows they take up the same amount of space. So they are equivalent. Now, I was looking for 1/2 of 1/3. Now, 1/2 of 1/3 will actually just be one of these 6 because it covers half of the third. And I can even turn this off just to show you. I could cut that third into 2 pieces or in half, and the fraction would be 1/6. So my answer, my estimate was, let's see, answer is less than 1/3. Yes, that is correct. 1/6 is less than 1/3. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my equivalent fraction work over here. And that means that half of 1/3 equals 1/6. All right, let me go ahead and show you a few more problems. So I'm going to delete these. I'm actually going to keep this 1/2 up right here because for my next problem, I'm going to take half of 1/6 this time. And for my estimate, actually, I'll wait a second for that. So I'm going to go over here and grab a 1/6 tile. So I'm looking for half. So I want to split this piece into 2 equal sized parts. That's a fairly straight line. So I'm looking for pretty small pieces, smaller than a 1/6, smaller than an 1/8. Yep, 8's going to be too big. 1/10 is also going to be too big. So I know, oh, okay, yes, 12ths. There we go. Let me erase this line I have right here. So it looks like half of a 1/6 looks to me like it's going to be a 12th. Let's see here. And oh, I forgot to actually make my estimate before I solved that problem. But my answer should be less than 1/6. And indeed, it is less than 1/6. It's 1/12. So 1/2 of 1/6 equals 1/12. All right, and we'll just do a couple more here. Let me erase this. And next we're going to find 1/2 of 1/5. And I will lay out a 1/5 because I want to take half of it. So I always lay out the fraction tile or the piece that's the second fraction in my number sentence because I want to take 1/2 of 1/5. So I know my estimate. My answer is going to be smaller than 1/5 because I want to take half of it. So over here, I can fit 2/10 onto 1/5. So I can write 2/10 equals 1/5, or I can say 1/5 equals 2/10. Those are equivalent fractions. All right, and it looks like 1/10 is 1/2 of 1/5. So 1/2 of 1/5 equals 1/10. There we go. And let me go ahead and erase my equivalent fraction work again. And let me erase fraction tiles. Just highlight those and click, erase my answer. Next, I'm going to be taking 1/2 of 1/4. All right, so I'll lay out 1/4 and I want to take half of it. So I want to see what size piece can I split this fourth in half. And I know my estimate's going to be less than 1/4. Okay, now let's see here. What size piece is it going to take 2 of them to equal 1/4? Oh, okay. 2/8 equals 1/4. 2/8 equals 1/4. And now I could also write that as 1/4 equals 2/8. I'll show here that indeed 2/8 cover right exactly onto 1/4. Okay, and my estimate is my answer is less than 1/4. So if I'm taking 1/2 of 1/4, yeah, it is going to be less than 1/4. It is going to be 1/8. So 1/2 of 1/4 is 1/8. All right, so I hope you have enjoyed that demonstration of multiplying a fraction by a fraction using fraction tiles, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.